Hey friends, so today from my RSI scanner, we got 20 stocks in the list basically, which I posted on the Twitter also. So after further carefully analyzing, I found only 9 stocks are the best suitable for the trade. So those are like IIFL, Newland, then Jubilant, then First Source, and then IDBI Bank, Hindustan Copper, Lupin, and BHEL. So out of 20, we will today having a deep analysis of only 9 because those are the best setup to find a trade basically, to trade basically. So I'll go one by one in my trading view and analyze one by one. Let's see what's happening. So IIFL with the first. So what happened to IIFL? I have been into bullish momentum stock. Actually, this is an uptrend way, and today it formed divergences near the support. This is the basically support. So it could be a good trade as long as the price remains above 536. That's yesterday's closing price, and here is forming a divergence also. So seems to be a good trade. If it able to cross 564, it has a very good potential to move towards 600 or above. So this IFL seems to be a good setup for trade tomorrow. Let's come to the next one, Chennai Petrol. Chennai Petroleum. So Chennai Petroleum is also kind of a good setup. The only problem is it doesn't give the momentum as it's supposed to get it. But it formed a bullish. Yesterday there was a bullish candle. Today also it was in green. It did not touch the low of previous day. So as compared to previous, and this is a weaker setup. But yeah, it's a valid setup basically as long as price remains above 988 basically. So one can go with the uh, let's say what's happening to normal RSI. Let me check it over there. So normal RSI, it has formed the divergence. So it's a good setup as long as price remains above 988 basically. Thank you. Next come to Jubilant. Which Jubilant was this? Jubilant in Jubilant. So Jubilant Engrava is no, it's not a good setup because both the so I did not check my private RSIs. Both are contradicting, so we generally avoid this kind of trade. But at all, if you want to trade, you can take a trade as long as price remain above 706. But this is not a high priority trade basically. So if I have an opportunity to find another setup, I'll prefer to go with that setup basically. Let's go to the first source. First. Let me remove my band first. So first source is also a good setup. Both the RSI forming a divergence. It could be a good potential trade as long as price remain about 341 basically. So if it able to take out this resistance zone of 374, it has all probability to go further above 400 plus basically. So look for these two numbers. There is a support of 344, around 340, and there is a resistance of 374. So it has to take it out this. But yes, it's from a bullish divergence. It's a potential trade as long as price remains above this point, basically. Let's go to IDBI. IDBI. So similar is a story in IDBI also form a bullish divergence on both RSI, at least primary RSI, the regular RSI 14, and here is gave a hidden divergence also. Seems to be a good trade as long as price remains above 98 basically. Hindustan Copper. Hindustan Copper. So Hindustan copper also form a bullish pattern over there, though RSI is not very promising, because if you know RSI is forming RSI because all previous divergences failed basically, and it is basically forming lower low. So no, I think this is also not a good trade. But if you are already in trade, so I have already invested, and 313 could be a good setup basically to keep the eyes on. Basically, it could be a turning point. But right now, setup doesn't look to be very great. Let's see weekly chart. So yes, we will wait for the weekly chart to form a divergence basically. If able to sustain the entire week these levels, then it could be a good trade for taking out the recent high and maybe proceed further for all-time high of the previous all-time high around 319, around 400 points basically. So we will wait for this to close this by this Friday basically. Then Lupin. So yes, Lupin is a good setup. Basically, form a divergence on both the RSI and form a basically bullish candle also. So this is a good trade as long as price remains above 1998. So if you follow, you can find it like you should analyze as per your rules. Basically, if you have any further rules, but for me, RSI is the only rule. Basically, I follow the range rules and those kind of things. Basically, so I am able to quickly analyze because I'm doing it for last 8-10 years and the similar setup basically. So I'm quick enough, and it just takes 2-3 minutes to decide me to take any trade on a particular chart basically. But coming back to Lupin, Lupin seems to be a good trade as long as price remains above 1998 basically. And this BHEL. Yes, BSL as a had been to uptrend for a long time. If you see, this is an uptrend basically for a quite time. After a little bit of sell-off, is form a bullish divergence, and that's a very good setup basically as long as price remain above 377. So entire all this thing basically, I found BHEL is the one of the best basically because this is forming a divergence near 65, 60, 64, which is a good uh, shows this is a good momentum stock basically. So I'll prefer to be on this trade. I'll prefer to take this trade basically. One was a Garuda. Garuda Constructions. Yes, Garuda Construction is also good because it's forming a 207 support and a divergence over there. Yeah, so Garuda is also a good setup basically. But best among this is VHEL basically. So guys, because the market is very choppy, so during this market, if any bullish setup happens, so we need to work with a very strict stop loss. You cannot, go with the okay, now you can stay in the trade as long as you go down. So during these kind of market, we need to follow very strict stop loss. So which we are following very small strip stop yesterday close, and that's why risk reward race seems to be okay. If market supports this market turn, they can give a good return basically. Hope this helps. If you have any question, do ping me. I'll be very happy to answer. So that's how I do my daily analysis. If I have money, if I need to invest, I find one or two basically best setup among these lists which I get every day. If you have any question related to scanner, related to analysis, so all of my students can really understand what I'm talking in more details because they have gone through this process. They know RSI details. So if you still have further any question, do let me know. I'll be very happy to help you. Thank you.